I'm on a journey to achieve the ability to do whatever I want whenever I want and not think about the money that's associated with it, aka financial freedom. The major roadblock preventing me from doing that is debt. So I'm gonna start tracking my net worth because I want to be able to say, this is where I started, this is where I am now. Because I know for a fact, if I don't document this journey, when I've made it, when I'm debt free and I'm financially secure, you're gonna have people who say, you're giving me advice, but you're not in my financial position. And I want to be able to point back and say, look, this is when I was in your position. And understand that today's the best I've ever been. So what I'm gonna show you, in my opinion, is still bad, but it's the best that we've been so far. Today's net worth isn't like indicative of where I was when I started my channel. I want to share this part of the journey with you guys. Sam says, debt with low interest rate might be good if your investing returns are higher. You know what's better than using debt to invest? Not using debt to invest. So there's that. And then in a perfect world where we just look at numbers, it can always seem that way, right? It can always seem like borrowing at 4% is great if you're able to get 8%. But if math were that simple, we'd all be okay. And it's one, for my lifestyle, my goal is financial freedom, right? So if I take out debt, I now have payments that I have to make. I can't just stop my job and go and do something else. I don't want that. I want to be able to wake up tomorrow morning, look at my wife and say, hey, I'm tired of America right now. Let's go to Japan for a couple months. You can quit your job. I'll quit mine. We'll figure it out. You can't do that when you have like payments, right? I don't have any car payments. And here's one thing I'll tell you. I used to believe that. I used to agree with you fully. And then I went on this radical plan by Dave Ramsey called the baby steps. And when I review how my life has been, even though I'm still in the baby steps, it has been significantly better because I decided that I'm against debt. And a really good example is when I got into a car accident. So I had just finished paying off my Volkswagen Jetta. Let me start putting some money aside just in case the car craps out, something happens. And then I got into an accident. It took about a month and a half for insurance to pay me the money. Now, think about this. If I took out debt to get that car, I would still be making those car payments until I got the money. How am I going to make these car payments while my car can't be driven and I'm an Uber and Lyft driver? I need a car to make money, right? If I didn't have that car paid off, that's something I would have had to deal with. The first thing that came to my mind was the piece that, man, this situation sucks, but at least I don't have a car payment. The second thing that happened in that same scenario that I found to be super beneficial was that I already had, my wife and I already had enough money to pay cash for a car without waiting for the insurance to reimburse us for the car, the Volkswagen. So I was able to go find the car I wanted, right? Without feeling pressured to get into a bad deal. I was able to bring up a bunch of options. My wife and I talked it over, which ones we should get. I ultimately sided with her on the one we should get. It was between getting something really cheap or getting something a little more expensive with a lot less miles. I ended up getting on Facebook Marketplace. And I haven't made this video because, again, I'm a procrastinator, but I have all the footage. I just need to make it. I bought a car for about $12,000, 80,000 miles, 2016 Prius. Looks like it had one owner. I paid cash for it. And once I eventually got the money, it was about $7,000, 7,000 minus the 12. So I paid about $5,000 for this car. And if I wasn't preparing myself for like a life without debt, if I wanted to continue doing rideshare, I would have had to borrow money for a car. The further I get into this journey, that is, I will admit, puts me in a minority position. I know a lot of people don't believe this stuff, but I don't think that I've met someone who has paid off their debt and then said it was a bad idea, you know? And then let's say I get to the point where I am debt free. If I change my mind, I can just go and get more debt. And this is a really good segue. I'm just gonna show you my net worth. Let's jump into that. I'll come back to the comments, so keep them coming. If you want to disagree with me, that's fine. You're welcome to disagree. You know, I don't believe my views is the only way I handle finances. All right, so this is something I just set up, so ignore this change. Well, what's not included in here, just to be transparent, is my house value or my mortgage loan. I'm on the baby steps by Dave Ramsey. Step 1 is $1,000 starter emergency fund. Right, this is just to take care of the average thing or emergency that might pop up. Step 2, I have one for my business and one for the household. So step 2 is to pay off all your debt, not including the house. So what we have here is our assets, not including our retirement fund. We have money in retirement, but we are not touching that to pay off debt. We are not borrowing from our future. That's how I see it. So that's not something we're going to do. And then our liabilities are $95,000. And that's student loans between the two of us. So we have about $60,000 of debt that's not house related that we need to pay off. And that's what the goal is. The goal is to do that before the end of summer. I think it's possible. It's going to take some hustling, but it is possible. Where I really realized that, I'll give you some more stories about how not relying on debt or not like trying to pay off debt has like helped us. We got married 2 years ago ish, right? 2 calendar years ago. And we were trying to pay in cash for the wedding. But while we were saving for the wedding, our air conditioner went out and we had to get a new roof. And we thought we were gonna have to pay out of pocket for it because the insurance company that was covering us went bankrupt. The lessons we learned by not relying on debt was extremely important, right? Being able to plan a wedding already is problematic. If anyone out there has planned a wedding, you know what I'm talking about. 2 people coming together, figuring out what's important to each other. It's some work. And then doing it on a budget, it gave us the confidence and communication skills that we felt like would really strengthen us moving forward. There's a statistic out there that says that most people who take out a certain amount of debt to have a wedding, their marriages don't last. And I think that's because that's a very bad foundation to start with. And I know that's not the debt you're talking about. You're talking about investment debts, this, that, and a third. And that's fine. I'm kind of segueing from that. But once my wife and I paid off our cars, like we're a household with 2 cars and no car payment. Like the amount of money we stack is it's crazy. Like you'd be surprised how quickly you can save money when you start saying no to debt. And I think that if you're a rideshare driver, you're not really in a position to justify having debt. Most of us became rideshare drivers because we got fired. We needed the extra money. We realized that, depending on your market, it's good. So we stayed in it, right? And that's fine. I'm not discounting that. I don't think we are in the category of people, the tax bracket of people who can reliably say that we're using arbitrage with debt and it's working for us. If it's working for you, I'd want to see your whole finances. I want to see everything. Let's put it down on the table. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you're trying to get out of life. Because the reality is, if most of us didn't have to do Uber and Lyft, we wouldn't, right? I don't want to be an Uber and Lyft driver. The money's good. There are other things I want to do, but the money is the constraint. I'm trying to solve for that. So going back here, I don't know if this was on the screen before or not. My assets right now are $37,664. We're pregnant. My wife is pregnant. And we haven't been making any debt payments. We've been making our minimums, which is just the student loans. And we're just stacking money until the baby's here. Then once baby's here, we're going to drop this on the debt. I would really love to have this gone before she is here, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So 95,000 in loans. We started with a lot more than that. Like the car loan was about 15 grand that I had initially. We paid off credit cards. We don't use them anymore. And yeah, so this is what it looks like right now. Let's see, what is our net? Is it show our net here? All right, so the net is, as of today, February 20th, 2025, our net worth, $57,336. I'll probably do this once a month. I will do this when I come back from March, and let's see if we can get this down to underneath $50,000. That would be cool. I think that's a cool goal. $7,000 in a month and change. That's what we'll do. So that's the goal. I'm gonna look at the comments now, see what you guys are saying.